Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name Muhammad Muizz Iqbalbin from 80110 My faculty supervisor is Madam Fazidan binti Rosli. Today I will present my practical places, which is at Satellite Farm Teluk Palimagarang. First of all, I will present about my company background, which is PPK Kuala Langat. The PPK Kuala Langat, which is based in Banting, Selangor, was established on March 9, 1977. It currently has 6,052 members, 32 farming units, and 834 kilometer working area. The PPK has its own hub for collecting yield. Peladang outlet PPK Kuala Langat is its name. The PPK itself runs this outlet in full. It is situated in Selangor, Teluk Palimagarang. Only the days of Monday, Wednesday and Friday are this store open. PPK Kuala Langat has received honors such as the Innovation Award, winner of the Best Agro Group Organization, Malaysia GPM Sustainability Award 2021 and more. Next, for these pages, this is the PPK organizational chart, which is the lead by Pengerusi Ahli Jemaah Pengarah. Next, vision and mission of PPK Kuala Langat. The vision for PPK Kuala Langat is moving forward with farmers towards excellence, and the missions of PPK Kuala Langat is develop farmers organization as the best service provided to progressive farmers. And this is the summary of tasks what we do 6 weeks in Satellite Farm. In weeks 1, we do the activities such as tying the main bamboo poles to hanging wires, adjusting the position of hanging wire, loosening the soil inside poly bags. In week 2, we do applying shading net to bamboo poles, checking and cleaning the main pipes, and applying trellis net to every planting row. In week 3, we do applying trellis net to every planting row, sowing seeds inside sowing trays, and applying pesticide to the planting site. In weeks 4, we do the activities such as knocking the nail into bamboo pole, removing the female flowers from plant by pruning method, and transplanting the seedlings into planting media. Next, in weeks 5, we do knocking the nail into bamboo pole, tying the main poles to hanging wire, and performing weeding process at planting site. Lastly, in week 6, we do attaching hanging wire to every pole in planting rows, adding soils into every poly bag in the planting area, and lastly, applying pesticide to the planting site. And this is the main activities I do in 6 weeks of practical. And the name of the activity is loosening the soil inside poly bags. The equipment we use to make this activity is gloves and wheelbarrow. The procedures of this activity is use hand to loosen and soften the soil inside. Ensure the gloves is wear during this activity. And there is no costing of these activities. And the outcomes of activity that I get is I can recognize soil that is more suitable for use in polybags, and knowing the nutrient content required in polybags. Next, the second activities we do is applying trellis net to every planting row. The equipment we use to these activities is gloves and scissors. The procedure of this activity is pull the trellis net until it fully covers the whole planting row. After done with pulling process, tie the top and bottom part of trellis net to connect. it with every bamboo poles using small pieces of plastic rope. The costing of these activities is trellis net is cost 10 ringgit per pieces, and we use 4 pieces, so the total of the trellis net we use is 40 ringgit, and 7 ringgit per kilo of plastic raffia rope, and we use 2 kilogram, so the cost of plastic raffia rope that we use is 14 ringgit. So the total of this cost of activity is 54 ringgit. Lastly, outcomes of activity that I get is now I knowing how to properly install a net and be able to train yourself from making the same mistakes over and over again. For these pages, in first picture, I pull the net along the crop line, and the second picture, my friend and I tie the net at the top and bottom of the net on each bamboo stick. The third main activities we do is sowing seeds inside sowing trays. The equipment we use to do this activity is gloves and small container. The procedures of these activities is make a tiny hole with the depth about 2-3 cm at the middle of planting medium inside poly bag. Take a seed and put it into the hole in vertical position. After done putting the seed, cover the hole in order to plant the seed completely. Next, the costing of these main activities. Cucumber seeds is cost 75 ringgit per can, and we use 3 can of cucumber seeds, so the total of this material cost is 225 ringgit. Lastly, outcomes of activity that we get from these activities is I learned the elements needed for seeds to do the germination process and knowing the period of seed germination. In these pages, the first picture is the state of the sowing tray after planting the seeds, and the second picture is the result of seeds that have germinated. Next, the fourth main activities is knocking the nail into bamboo pole. The equipment we use to do these activities is gloves, hammer, and cutter. The procedures of these activities is untie the knots that bind the bamboos using cutter. Next, take a bamboo and nail in order to make a bamboo pole. And lastly, knock the nail into the bamboo using hammer. Next, the costing of these main activities. First, nails 1.5 inches. The nails is cost 1 ringgit per pieces, and we use 370 pieces, so the totals of the nails is 370 ringgit. And next, a bamboo stick is cost 2 ringgit and 70 cent per pieces, and we use 370 pieces, so the total of the bamboo is Rm 999. So the total cost of this material is Rm 1369. And lastly, outcomes of activities that we get is knowing how to use a hammer properly and be able to learn the amount of mass and pressure needed to keep the nail on the bamboo. Next, the first picture, it's me knocking a nail on a bamboo stick, and a second picture, we're knocking nails with comrades. And the last main activities is tying the main poles to hanging wire. The equipment we use to do these activities is gloves and plier. And the procedures of these activities is first, by using plier, cut the PVC coated wire to prepare several small wires with the length of 20 to 30 cm. And second, take a cutted small wire and use it to perform the tying process. The process is done carefully and according to the technique that was shown by supervisor. Next, the costing of these activities. First, PVC coated wire is cost 4 ringgit per 200 gram and we use 600 gram. So the total of PVC coated wire that we use is Rm 12 ringgit. So the total of this cost material is Rm 12. And lastly, outcomes of activity that we get from this activity is I can ensure the balance and durability of bamboo sticks and to support the plant cling to the bamboo stem. Next, in these pages, in the first picture, the wire that has been cut is tied to a bamboo stick, and the second picture, I tighten the wire that has been tied to the bamboo. In conclusion, from the first week to the last week of the industrial, I learned a ton of new things. I was able to progress from fundamental knowledge such the morphology of plants to more complex processes including the types of pesticides, plant disease, and fertilizers. This knowledge will undoubtedly be useful to me in future, especially at work. Last but not least, I hope the UiTM will continue sending practical students to places like this in the future because they will undoubtedly encounter challenging and enjoyable times at work. Next pages is recommendations. PPK Kuala Langat was, in my opinion, an excellent firm for industrial training since they were extremely helpful in instructing us and sharing their insightful real estate experience. On the other side, they can improve their infrastructure to enhance the amount of space available for practical students interning at their estate.